We are back at Benzinga here in Miami, Florida for another episode of Media Unshackled. And one of the coolest things about it is always grabbing people that I didn't know, and I get to know them firsthand while I'm on the podcast. You know, I think there's a lot of podcasts. Sorry, Dimitri Downing with
George Stanchik, Pure 5 Extraction.
Pure 5, the extraction company, the fastest, the best, the cleanest, all around just number one extraction company in the universe. And I can say that because I was watching the Web Hubble thing, and I was watching the video and images that they came up with, and there wasn't one fucking extraction machine in all those images. So I'm pretty sure you're the best in the universe. Just kidding. People are like, what? Web Hubble, huh? It's a. Don't worry. Okay, so Dimitri Downing. So you get to network with us live, and we came across a really cool individual that's been in the cannabis industry since 2015, Johann Balbuena.
That is me.
Is that? Let's start with the name.
Okay.
Balbuena. Where is that from?
Well, I'm from the Dominican Republic. I was born there. I came to America when I was 13, and I've been rocking ever since.
I love when you got me. You had me at hello because I'm sorry.
Hola.
Hola. We're going to talk about all your expertise in cannabis. That's coming, but a couple things.
What's up?
I love the Dominican Republic. I love Puerto Rico. I love Haiti. I love the island group.
The Caribbean is a beautiful place.
But I also love understanding the difference as to why each country evolved politically so differently. Mm-hmm. And it's so interesting, the history of the Dominican Republic. So you had me at the Dominican Republic.
Uh-huh.
I spent a lot of time in Puerto Rico. So, but then you said coming to America. And that's like one of my favorite phrases ever.
Oh.
Because of the jazz singer.
You know,
on the boats and on the planes, they're coming to America.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I don't know, Neil Diamond. Okay.
I feel
Anyway,
you.
so we are back at Benzinga. Demetrius got to come back in. And we're with Joanne. So how did you get involved in the cannabis industry?
So I got involved first as a patient. I was living in California. I had just gotten out of the Navy. While I was in the Navy, I actually suffered an accident. I had a traumatic brain injury.
Oh, sorry.
While I served. Well, I'm not that sorry. I'm sorry that the accident happened, but that's what led me to come across cannabis. It helped me cope with some of the things that I was dealing with, PTSD. The TBI actually messed up my sleeping habits and my pattern through the night. A friend introduced me to cannabis. One thing led to the next. I found healing in this plant. Then I understood, why is this thing even illegal? It's helping me, and it can help people like me, veterans and women. And then I actually met an entrepreneur who became my business partner later on, and understood that this is a viable industry, and obviously worth pursuing. And here we are.
So how long were you in the Navy for?
I did 4 years in the Navy.
4 years. Excellent. May I ask what you did in the Navy?
Yeah,
I never served, so I apologize.
Oh, no worries. I was an aviation electronics technician. I worked with fighter jets.
Fighter jets?
F-18s.
F-18s?
Yes.
See, she worked with F-18s. I was busy, in law school. She's working. I wanted to be JAG. I went to law school. I wanted to be JAG. My grades weren't good enough, so they said, you can't get in, so I never got to serve.
It's all good. I actually worked for JAG when I left the Navy as a civilian. So
excellent. So F-18s, that's kind of cool.
It was dope. So I worked on the flight deck of the USS John C. Stennis.
One of my bucket list dreams is to be on an aircraft carrier flight deck.
It was an experience for sure. I did 2 deployments on board an aircraft carrier.
Is there a way that I can, a guest thing that I can get that you know about?
Oh, they actually. So when we come back from deployment, they have a week that is family week. So they allow, so if you know somebody that it's on deployment and on their way back, they can have you as their guest. When we actually go to Hawaii, and then from Hawaii coming back to, let's say, San Diego.
It's like a cruise ship, but doesn't have the pool.
I mean, you know what?
Does it have a pool?
There is definitely no pool. However, when we're deployed, sometimes they stop the ship for us to jump overboard. But not for the civilians.
Oh, wait, they let you stop and swim?
Yeah, we've done that. I did it a couple times. So you jump from not the top of the flight deck, but the hangar bay, which is a little bit lower.
Yeah.
You jump into the water and then you swim back. Because the ship is not fully stopped. It's just moving really slowly for you to swim back, swim back behind it, get back on. And then.
But you don't see that on Instagram.
No, well, of course not. I do have some pictures of that
Really?
happening.
Are you like, okay, we won't talk about that anymore. We don't want to get in any trouble here with the Navy. Let's talk about
I'm
cannabis.
no longer in the Navy, so
Yeah, I know. This sounds like a great adventure. I want to jump off the aircraft carrier deck. Okay.
in the middle of the Indian Ocean.
In the middle, there's like sharks out
aren't
there.
they pirates too?
There were, yeah, I mean, it's a super safe. Obviously,
Yes.
we are the military. There's people looking out, to make sure that nothing happens to us. But
Is there
I'll be
snipers for the
honest,
sharks?
Yes, there is.
There really is.
In the water, on top of the ship, there is super. They take a lot of.
I can see guys jumping off with their Glock because the Glock fires underwater.
Yeah,
like
and
swimming.
trust me. There's divers in the water just on the lookout to make sure we're safe. And to be honest with you, when I did jump, there was a huge turtle just literally chilling, watching us. And I'm talking about a turtle bigger than this table.
That's fantastic.
Ginormous.
That's probably my.
It was an experience.
That's
for
probably
sure.
my spirit turtle.
250 years old, probably.
Maybe older. It was huge. It
All right.
was something.
So we love your Navy experience. Thank you for your service, and this
Thank
was a
you.
good story.
Appreciate
So
it.
what? In 2015, you started in cannabis as a patient, but your first business move in cannabis was.
So like I said, I met my business partner, and once I looked into the industry, saw that there was a market for it, that it was legal in California for medical purposes. At that point, I met my business partner, and I told him, I want to work with you. He was pursuing a cultivation license. And once he told me what that was about, we started working together. And
there's people that's walking. There's Bob Hoban over there.
yeah,
That's she was waving at Jasmine.
that's Jazz. Yeah, Jazz. That's my girl. I love her.
So go ahead.
I was just saying, I met him. I let him know that I was interested. He told me he was raising capital. And once he told me, hey, I got funded, I can afford to have you in full time. Do you want to do it? I
Nice.
said, say less. That was on a Saturday. Put my 2 weeks notice on Monday. And we've been rocking out ever since.
And what did you start doing with him? What was your first?
So I started helping them with the licenses. So at that point, I had my experience. I already had an MBA. I had experience in business.
You didn't mention that.
Sorry.
Yeah, I
you-
realized how little business experience I had when I got into the cannabis industry.
So my family, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. So I had already helped my family start a business, non-cannabis. This
Yeah.
is a business we have in New Jersey called Palenque Provisions. We are a meat production and distribution company.
Yeah.
And I helped my family found that business.
Right.
And so that's what I brought to the table. I know business. I know licensing, to get permits and things of that nature. And he was in the market for that type of assistance. And next thing you know, we have a whole vertically integrated situation. We're applying to licenses. We have cultivation, manufacturing.
In California.
In California, yes.
Since
correct.
2016.
Correct.
That's a
And
long
at
time
that
in California.
point,
You've seen a lot in
So-
that market.
in 2016 in San Diego, had banned cultivation in cannabis operations. And so he was scratching his head on how do we do this legally? And so in 2016, he said, you know what? The tribes have their own laws. Let's go talk to them.
There you go.
And so we helped them. There was a tribe in San Diego that was open-minded to it, after us and him.
What year was 2016?
Yes, 2016, we're talking to them, we're letting them know these are the possibilities. My business partner had put together what he calls the Cannabis Bible, which is a book that he put together, from seed to sale, explaining all the different aspects of cultivation, process, SOPs.
And what's his name?
Dwayne Alexander.
Thanks.
So he's the CEO Prime Harvesting, where I serve as CMO.
Excellent. Keep going.
And so we brought that to the tribe, and the tribe was super interested. They allowed us to be the first cultivation on site, and boom, San Diego had banned cannabis operations, but we were doing it legally at a tribal land.
Are you allowed to say what tribe that was?
Yeah, Santa Isabel.
Santa Isabel. Just want to tell you how small this world is. You're talking about one of the few people who knows what the Wilkinson Memorandum is.
Okay.
Yes,
absolutely.
I'm like that guy. So in 2013-14, when the Wilkinson Memorandum came out in 2014, that I was the tribal prosecutor in Arizona. Everybody started asking me, all these people, and all these publicly traded companies and investors came to me and said, hey, we want to do tribal stuff in 2014, early 2015.
Yep.
and they were paying me to introduce them all these tribal leaders. Went to DC, everywhere. So many of these cats were like full of crap.
Yeah.
And publicly traded companies that just want a
Of
press
course.
release. And I actually toured the La Posta, the casino.
Yep.
There, I toured that with their elders back in like 2014.
Wow.
And said, hey, you guys should turn this old casino, which still had slot machines. I don't know what it's doing now. I passed by it, but I haven't gone up there. Maybe they did turn it in one day. But they said, let's do it. And then I went back to the guys that I was working with, and they're like, well, would the tribe issue a press release?
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, no,
No.
that's not, these are not the right people to do
do
business
that, yeah.
with. And that's when I kind of moved away from publicly traded companies, Canadian publicly traded companies, in like 2015, because
Yeah.
there was a lot of like press release crap, and I didn't like that.
Yeah, a lot of fluff.
Yeah, a lot of fluff.
And not much to back it up.
And so, my friends at La Posta, I don't know what happened to you. I hope you turned that casino into a grow. It was a beautiful facility. Moving on.
I'll tell you what, we did turn the casino into a grow. In the Santa Isabel tribal land.
Santa Isabel.
Yes,
Great. Well, there
yes.
you go. You see, there's people. She has an MBA. I don't. She's willing to swim with sharks. I'm not.
Well, I'm not a grower, so it's not like I did that. I was just helping
Yes.
with the ordinance, creating that part, and with the license and management of the compliance.
Yeah, but
so that's what I had.
that stuff is the stuff that matters a lot.
Oh, 100%.
You know, I mean, no disrespect away from cultivators, but there's a lot of regulatory stuff, a lot of paperwork that needs to be I's dotted, T's crossed, and that's how you get a business
Absolutely.
going. So where are you guys at now?
So right now, we just got approved to raise capital under Reg A, so which means that our company is expanding. So we have operations in San Diego. We have our Jack's Cannabis retail and delivery. We deliver all throughout San Diego County. Our brick and mortar is in Ramona. Proudly served. Shout out to the city of Ramona for supporting us since 2017. And so we just got another license closer to central San Diego in the City Heights area. So we're looking to have that open towards the end of the year. We also have a license for retail in the city of La Mesa in San Diego. Most recently took over manufacturing distribution in Miramar in San Diego as well. So we're expanding. And with this Reg A, the Securities and Exchange Commission.
That's Regulation A.
Regulation A.
Not
yeah.
Reg A.
Not the music genre, but Regulation A+. So we received our qualification, and it allows us to raise capital from accredited and non-accredited investors, which means that anyone can invest in our business and be a part of it in exchange for equity. So,
Nice. Well, you just are just rocking and rolling.
yeah, we are, and that's what it's all about. I have a lot of pride in how creative my team is in finding ways to circumvent the challenges that the cannabis industry throws our way.
So you guys are manufacturing in Southern California and San Diego,
Yeah.
retailing in San Diego,
Yeah.
cultivating in the San Diego area.
Mhm.
You're distributing throughout California?
So we're distributing right now just in our own facilities. So we're buying in bulk directly from the farms, and packaging our own in-house flower and making edibles out of our manufacturing.
Are you
facility.
using Pure 5 extraction machines?
No.
He owns Pure 5.
Oh,
Best
and
extraction machines
we
out
had
there.
We had our side conversation. We're definitely will be connecting
Oh,
offline.
yeah. No, he's a
to
doctor.
discuss
He's like
how
a scientist.
How we can work together. Yeah, for
And
sure.
he brings that European know-how to extraction machines and then the science knowledge to the entire cannabis industry.
And I was telling him that I've seen the product from a friend of mine. Actually
Yeah.
introduced me to the vape cartridge that he has.
Yeah, he brings like intellectual scientific credibility to my comic relief.
Oh.
So
To your comic?
if I say anything that's like intellectually wrong, he'll
He'll
slap
give
me.
you the look.
He'll say, nah, you're wrong.
Good to know. Good to know.
So
What else
where
you got?
can people? So people right now, in order to find you or to work with your cultivation, your products and stuff, it's all Southern California.
Yes, it is.
Are you planning any statewide brands, national brands, extraction type?
I mean, the
MIPS.
point of the Reg A capital raise is to support our expansion through the state of California. So not only are we looking to get all these licensed assets online and operational, we're also building an application to pretty much connect the dots, to expand with these licensed assets throughout the state of California, and open up to statewide delivery. creating different hubs in specific and strategic locations, and tying that up.
So your business model is delivery, statewide hubs throughout
Correct.
California,
And distribution.
and distribution. Okay, so you guys aren't going to manufacture or push any certain flour, that kind of
I
stuff.
mean, it is a play because with the
I mean, there's a lot.
distribution license and then in the manufacturing, being able to package our own flour, and also as we invite brand partners to be a part of our retail and have their products on our shelves, then we also can provide other services to them. So, we're just trying to be vertically integrated with the Weed for the People, which is our campaign to raise the capital. So anybody, please check out weedforthepeople.com.
Weedforthepeople.com.
Yes, weedforthepeople.com. Weed, the number 4, thepeople.com. And there you'll see our plan and all the stipulations for the Reg A and what we've done, the growth. We have sections illustrating the growth that we've done since 2017 when we started Jack's Cannabis, which is our retail brand. And then what the plan is for the future.
I have my particular opinions about your business model, and I think there's some real success that can come from what you guys are doing. You kind of heard what they're doing in California. Is there anything that you think? I just hear one thing that I want to point out.
Yeah.
What do you think about their business model and what they're doing?
I think that's good. Just getting everything into the correct structure and multiplying it, that's certainly correct. The other thing that I would push more is brands with literally innovation that people can, the value that you bring to people.
Absolutely.
So that can help a lot.
And the whole point of Weed for the People is that. So, that the problem in cannabis, access to capital, is huge. So with Weed for the People is an investment platform. So now we have this qualification from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission that allows us to raise capital. It can be from accredited investors. It can be from non-accredited. So now when we build partnerships, we roll that into our deal and we're able to raise capital for specific partnerships, specific situations that we put together. And it's a win-win situation for the partner that we bring in and for ourselves, and then the investors themselves. Especially when you're investing in real people, because, we can all say we have these licenses, we have this, but obviously you're investing in us. Like my CEO and his experience, he has 30 years of experience in cannabis cultivation, consumer behavior. He's owned dispensaries from Prop 215. We have been operating since Prop 215. Crossed to Prop 64, and I'm still here. I don't know if you probably do know, but San Diego is one of the most conservative markets in California. Number one, our dispensary specifically, who our authority or regulator is? The Sheriff's Department.
Oh, okay.
And they do...
San Diego County Sheriff.
Yeah, San Diego County Sheriff's Department. Every quarter, they do audits on our business, on our financials. And so... because of that, blessing in disguise, we were able to have audited financials that we were able to show to the Securities Exchange, and because of that, that helped us to get our qualification.
Oh, audited financials are everything.
I mean, for this particular situation, it's a requirement. And for cannabis, it's tough to get through that.
That's good.
And like I said, the blessing in disguise is that we had audits from our police, literally and figuratively, and having that tied up was able to help us in getting this qualification, which not many cannabis companies can get through that. Only a handful, and quite frankly, not all of them. Or we are the first one that's women-led, and a women-led operation, and black-owned.
And that's fantastic. What was the lawyer or the people who helped you, the consulting group?
So Leonard, they're out of New York.
Tell him to call me. I'll give him a lot of business.
Oh, they are awesome. This is not something that happened out of nowhere. This was a 3.5 year process for our business, and not because this cannabis.
We should meet this guy. And Leonard, what's her name? Leonard, what's the firm's name?
Guy Well, I'm not gonna put all his business out there.
All right.
But Guy Lander is our securities attorney.
Okay, yeah, we should.
Carter and Lanyard is the law firm.
Awesome. Sounds like a guy
And they're out of New York.
Sounds like it's like a guy I should have lunch with.
Yeah, Guy is the guy.
And I love your business model. I'm particularly fond of the delivery aspect. I like the hub thing. I see the vision there. I don't really care about vertical integration. There's a big debate in the cannabis industry how important that is.
It's tough. It's tough to do it.
There's people that are great extractors. George is a great extractor. He's a scientist. There's people that are great cultivators. There's people that are great at public relations. I'm a great public relations guy. Mm-hmm. There's people that are great at retail. There's people that are great at developing brands. There's people that are great, different talents.
Right.
And sometimes it comes about where you have the right leader who can, create all those silos and make everything perfect and rock and roll with every single one. But to get them all right is really, really complicated.
It is.
So
Absolutely.
If you focus on your particular thing, like this hub delivery thing, it's like, to me, I'm like thinking about that, and I'm thinking that's going to freaking kill it. But more brands want to be associated with you guys.
Right.
So if you have your own brands, that's just competition as well. And if they feel as if you're pushing your brand over their brand and stuff. So like being like, you see what I'm saying?
But we're real retail oriented, right? And we know the consumer doesn't just want one brand.
Right.
I mean, obviously it's even good to create competition within the brands inside just to create demand. So I think there's a strategy there.
Yeah.
And we don't cultivate right now. We don't have a cultivation license.
Right.
We buy directly from the farm, but we package in our manufacturing facility and then distribute to our operations, to our retail operations and our delivery service.
It's just an opinion. I see great success in your delivery model. I think that's the future. And I'm a big fan
I think so too.
I'm a big fan of delivery, direct to
convenience.
consumer, manufacturer, consumer. The easiest, the quickest possible, the Amazon models. Hopefully we're going to get to that.
The ice cream truck model.
Oh, I keep moving out of the photo thing. I'm just saying. Well, she's got like
Get closer to me.
She's like got a Glock in there or something, No, we're in Florida. We're a gun-free zone. I'm just kidding. No, but she's dangerous. I'm just kidding. This has been fantastic. I love meeting you, and people should reach out to you.
I appreciate you.
How do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can follow me on LinkedIn, Johann Balbuena. You can buy my book, The Successful Cannapreneur, which is now available in Spanish. Can emprender exitosamente. Así que para mi gente que habla en español, por favor, chequen en Amazon para que compren el libro.
She just throws that out there in Spanish.
Well, I'm from the Dominican.
No, I know.
It's my first language. So I had to do that for my Spanish-speaking people that also should get access to this information, And so on Instagram, _JM Balbuena. Weedforthepeople.com is the platform to check out our business offering to invest. And Prime Harvest Inc. is the company I'm a CMO at. And so primeharvestinc.com.
George, any closing thoughts? I'm just blown away.
You're speechless.
I'm speechless too. It's just certainly we're gonna talk a lot, and I admire what they're doing since 2016. That's the race of cannabis. Anyway, in the beginning, they've seen a lot, and they've been a lot, and they're still out there selling great product. Absolutely.
But one thing I always do is I connect people. Your Spanish-speaking talents and your knowledge.
You already know I'll be there.
My friend Lorena is doing this. Have you met her?
I know.
Oh, you know Jasmine. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Jasmine already put me on.
You can tell them I was hyping their conference. Cannabis.
I'll let them know.
Any Spanish-speaking individual in the cannabis industry should be here.
Absolutely.
Period. The knowledge that you're going to acquire and the growth in Latin America and Mexico and networking is an opportunity for you. So if you can read, write, and speak Spanish and are interested in cannabis, get to Cannabis Salute. This has been another episode of Meet Unshackled, and thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Very much, Johann
Balbuena.
Balbuena.
Boom, you got
Love it. Gracias.
Gracias.